Inga mana, inga reo, inga iwi o te motu, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa. Can I just begin by acknowledging mana whenua, by acknowledging Justice for Palestine and Alternative Jewish Voices and all of you for being here today to stand up for the people of Palestine. I know that many of you have been standing up for weeks, months, decades even, and so I just want to acknowledge the solidarity of everyone who has pushed this important issue even when it hasn't been so publicly acknowledged. So my thanks to you. Just checking that it's all right. I won't touch the button, okay. Ko Rachel Boyack tōku ingoa. My name is Rachel Boyack. I am the Member of Parliament for Nelson Whakatū and a Member of Parliament for the Labour Party. It's a real pleasure today to give some commentary on UNRWA and a few other matters on behalf of the Labour Party today. Can I begin by saying that while we absolutely welcome the ceasefire, it's such a relief in so many ways, it is so tenuous, as we saw at the beginning of the ceasefire the other night, and it doesn't mean that this issue is resolved all of a sudden. There is so much more to do for the people of Gaza, for the people of Palestine, to ensure there is proper justice for the people of Palestine. And so even though we've managed to get to that ceasefire point, we must continue to keep the plight of the Palestinians in the mind of the public and in the mind of the government to ensure New Zealand is doing everything it can, using its voice and its mana on the world stage. I must say that seeing the images of entire parts of Gaza completely flattened is just devastatingly confronting. And it must be confronting for our leaders. The leaders like Winston Peters, the leaders like Christopher Luxon, the leaders of the other political parties in Parliament, they must be spurred to act as a result of those images. There's no question that Israel has gone in and unilaterally devastated significant areas of Gaza. And if people don't see that and get spurred to take action and to stand up, then actually next year, it's only next year, we need to vote them out. Start getting a bit campaigny now, let's do that. But not only is it about the bombing and the terrible destruction of Gaza, as the United Nations Secretary General has said, there is a humanitarian crisis in Gaza. One of my close friends in Nelson has been supporting a whānau in Gaza by fundraising for them, including a little girl who has autism and, like Claire said from the PPTA, should be in school, should be able to learn. The cost of food, the cost of basic food and water and shelter, all of those items that should be affordable for people worldwide are just impossible to purchase unless you have support from people in another country around the world. These items should be able to get into Gaza immediately and in a sustained way, as well as all of the other things that UNRWA does that Marilyn and others have so eloquently pointed out today. I don't need to go over it. But UNRWA has the mandate. It is the only organisation that actually can get in and really work on a rebuild that supports the needs and the wants and the aspirations of the Palestinian people. But also, we just need to get food in there and fuel and shelter, for goodness sake. Those basic needs need to get in, and they need to continue to get in. A couple of weeks of having aid to get in is not going to do it. It needs to continue in a sustained way. And so Israel's decision to end UNRWA's access into Palestine, into Gaza, from the 30th of January is unjust. It's immoral, and it will cause massive devastation for the people of Gaza. New Zealand has a voice on the international stage that is respected. And throughout the past year, we, alongside other political parties, and all of you, have called on our government to do more, to say more, to speak up, to use that voice. And on this issue, they need to do exactly that. They need to call for UNRWA to be recognised and to be allowed that access. It's a basic call of duty for any government to stand up for a mandated United Nations organisation that we support as a country. It shouldn't be difficult. It's plain and simple. So I just want to note a couple of other demands of the Labour Party that we have on this government while we're here today. People have been asking me what happens now around humanitarian visas. We must push hard on this government for humanitarian visas for the people of Palestine who have connections to Aotearoa, just like we did for Ukraine and in other parts of the world. Erica Stanford has said in Parliament that the reason we couldn't do this was because people couldn't get out. Now, I call BS on that, first of all, but we should do it anyway, even if it's hard. But secondly, with the ceasefire, even though it's going to be difficult and expensive, it actually is now going to be easier for people to get out, acknowledging for many it will be nearly impossible. But it will be easier. So if that's your argument's gone, Erica. Do the right thing and make sure New Zealand has a humanitarian visa for the people of Gaza. It is the right thing to do and is consistent with Aotearoa's actions in the past. We must immediately divest from any investments in the organisations that are on the UN's list that are supporting Israel's occupation of Palestine, and particularly the Superannuation Fund and the ACC Fund. Now, I'm Labour's spokesperson for ACC, and last year I called on the government to immediately divest in any of those companies because ACC does. They do invest on behalf of New Zealanders in some of those companies on the UN list, which, by the way, was off the back of a New Zealand-sponsored UN resolution when we were on the Security Council under a John Key national government. So they can get there, the National Party, they can. They need to get there on this. They need to actually give an instruction now to those organisations to divest. We know that ACC are actually doing a review off their own backs. That's a good thing. But the government needs to go further. They need to instruct and they need to do it now. It's the right thing to do, and it's in accordance with our responsibility to uphold the ruling of the International Court of Justice. Finally, we need to ensure as a country that there is accountability for war crimes and the crimes against humanity that have been ruled on at the ICJ and the International Criminal Court. It was a good thing that Christopher Luxon said that Netanyahu would likely be arrested if he came to New Zealand. But the reality is he's probably not going to come to New Zealand, so we need to continue to do more. We actually need to take those practical steps, like divesting through ACC and the Superannuation Fund, so that we can put direct pressure on Israel to change its behaviour, to end what the ICJ has said is a plausible genocide, and that we know probably will end up showing there is a genocide through that ICJ process. We need our government to step up. Right now, the immediate call from everyone here today is on UNRWA. That is the immediate call today. This government needs to take that simple action to use its voice proudly, as we have done for so many decades, as an independent little nation in the bottom of the South Pacific, and ensure that Israel overturns this ban so that aid and everything else that UNRWA does can get into Gaza, stay in Gaza, and help support the people of Gaza and Palestine to have the self-determination that they need and deserve. Free Palestine, tēnā koutou katoa.
Thank you so much, Rachel. Excellent.